What year did you go into the service?
It was in 42.
1942.
I joined up at the service in 1942 at Love Field.
Old Dallas Love Field.
Old Dallas Love Field. That's where this Marvin Massey went down with me to join up, a friend of mine, and they turned him down on account of a rupture. And I was in with him. He's trying to talk the doctors into passing him, and I was in helping him, and they swore them in, so I was never sworn in the service. So I.
Well, now, how did you travel down to Love Field from McKinney?
My wife took us down there.
Okay, so you were married when you enlisted.
I got married in '39.
Okay, and did you stay at Love Field very long?
We stayed there for about 2 hours, went through physicals, and they swore the rest of the bunch in. And then we went to Million Wells.
Now, let me ask you, had you ever flown before?
I'd never been in an airplane.
You'd never been in an airplane?
No, I'd never been in an airplane. And
how did you pick the Air Force to go sign up?
I'd always made models of airplanes and was interested in them.
Okay.
Anyhow, well, went to Big Springs, and I'd had training in drilling with the Woodman degree team. So I didn't have to stay in boot camp for about 4 days. And they told me to go on down on the line where the airplanes were. And I went down there, and the major down there, he told me, he said, you will be the crew chief on plane number 311 out there. And I told him, I said, well, now, I'm not very up on airplanes. I never have been in one. He said, that doesn't make any difference. And I said, well, where's my crew? He said, you are the crew. So I took over that plane, and that's the first time I ever was in an airplane. The AT-11 was a 2-engine bomber. And I'd read and do things, and read and do things. And finally a boy come over there, and he had buck sergeant stripes on, and I said, boy, I'm sure glad to see you, because I don't know a doggone thing about airplanes, and I'm supposed to take care of this one. And he said, well, I've got my stripes in the mess hall, and I don't know anything about airplanes.
He was a cook.
Yeah, he was a cook. So anyhow, well, stayed there at Big Springs for about a month there, and left there. We went to Gulfport, Mississippi, and there I went through and have my diploma for aero mechanic and aero engineer. And then I went from there to Laredo, Texas, and I went through gunnery school there, and they had 400 in our class, and there's 6 of us that come out the highest grades on aero gunnery and all kinds of gunnery. And then they sent us to Montgomery, Alabama, to go through B-29 aero engineering school. And went through engineering school there, and then from there I went to Salt Lake City, and there we got our crew and started the training for overseas duty. And from there we went to Tucson, Arizona, and trained there in navigation and bombing. And my wife and I, well, back whenever I went in the service and I told my wife I was going in, well, she told me, she said, I got one request. As long as you're in the United States, we stay together, and that'll be it. We did, and we lived in some terrible places, but she never complained.